Hi everyone, Indez here. Over the past weeks, I've been trying to find out what was the max DPS build, and I think I did. This is gonna be a full breakdown of everything you have to do to max out your DPS on the Demon Hunter. We all know that Demon Hunter, it is only and the only role you have is to do DPS. I also want to give a big shout out to GameZone that hooked me up to find out actually what was the best, and this, from my testing, it is actually a blast of a build. So let's go here very quickly into the skills. We have the Vengeance, Multishot, Spinning Chakram, and Strafe. Strafe has been on the meta for the longest time that I remember, and it feels like he's never gonna go away because he's that strong. We are using the Eyes of a Blaze. Is gonna make that your multi-shot now is gonna create like these explosions, hitting the burning damage. Additional damage is always good. The Significant Vigor is gonna make that your primary attacks gonna now restore the energy. And what is the Strafe energy? It is pretty much, you're gonna see like this bar here. Whenever you hit with the primary, you see it restoring, which is gonna allow you to pretty much just keep spinning for a very long time. Hellfire, you already know this one. Multi-shot, whenever you turn it on, you're gonna start seeing these rockets like popping up. It is kind of cool. I really like and enjoy the way like this instance works. And a new pants that I never used this one before until I saw this one, Query Chaser. Now the Spinning Chakra will also increase your primary attack speed. So you want to see how the Spinning Chakra goes into this build together with this offhand, the Lion Jaw. Your Spinning Chakra instead empowers you for several seconds during the primary attack. Also launches chakra that will bounce between the mobs and damage all the enemies. And this is where I was telling you that inside the dungeons it just creates insane amount of damage. And because like Dungeons is all about AoE, but also single target, but killing those mobs as fast as you can, that's what you want. Then we have here, of course, we have the Fang Spitter. This one's gonna make your multi-shot being powered your primary attacks. Then we have the Pain Sword, the other offhand. Strafe now fires your primary attacks, focus on the nearby enemies. Like this is the one of the like Pain Sword, like was the one that makes this whole Strafe build becoming a thing. And then of course Unrelenting Fever, like you want your Strafe to go and increase the longest duration, so you're always outputting damage. You're pretty much, if you are out of the Strafe, you are like not outputting as much damage you want, and that's what you really want. So now let's go and dive into the set items, the grid set items. You want to go with 4 pieces seeds. So the first one is going to increase your strafe damage until 30%, and the other one is going to be like whenever you start channeling and you stop, you're just going to make a big explosion. It's going to hit for millions, up to 30% of like the damage that you did. It is very, very powerful. The other one, it is going to be 4 pieces of Vitus. The 2 pieces Vitus is going to increase your beneficial effect duration, which means every buff that you will see it right here. So we are only using buffs. We are using the Vengeance, Multishot, and also the Spinning Chakra. All of these are buffs that then whenever you start strafing, then you're gonna output a lot of damage. So have in mind that the more beneficial effect you have, the better it's gonna be. Also, don't forget to go here on the Reforges to also output this one. Now we also have here the other one. It is the 4 pieces Vitus set. Is going to increase your attack speed by 30%. So the more attack speed you have as a Demon Hunter, the best is going to be for your build. It's going to create like a big burst for you. It is pretty cool. So when it comes like to substats, all you care and all you always on the focus on, it is to have the highest critical hit chance possible together with a critical hit damage. But remember, you have the critical hit damage as a substat, but also your secondary armor penetration will also increase your critical hit damage. So don't forget about this. This is very important. The other substat that I want you guys to have in mind will always be the attack speed. The attack speed as a whole, it is super important for you to not only keep restoring the energy of your strafe, but also to keep outputting as much damage as you can. Cooldown reduction here is not as important, and the movement speed, it is always good because you always want to to be fast to do these dungeons, even though it is not a main priority. Now you have here like a few terror affixes that you can use. For example, you can use the Multishot, but if you just have like enough beneficial effect duration, you pretty much not gonna need this. So you also remember that you also always want to have as maximum Awaken Slots as possible, especially these ones that affect the Strafe skill, because this one's gonna increase 10% of the damage. Here on the primary attack was gonna increase another 10%, and here on the pain sword is gonna give you 10% cooldown reduction. This is always good, like, because this is gonna be your main skill, the main skill that's gonna give you extra damage. You also can go anything that will add extra damage will always be beneficial to you. Just have in mind that you can also take a few of these like cooldown reductions, but always go and look at your buffs, and if you have enough cooldown reduction with enough beneficial effect that you are able to get your buffs like 100% uptime all the time, that's literally what you want. Unfortunately, we cannot have a lot of like skill cooldown reduction here for the vengeance, so this is the only one that I cannot have constantly 100% uptime. Now let's go here and let's talk about the runes. So a few highlights, because we're doing like dungeons mainly. I want to touch like on the seed. This one, whenever you kill a mob, it has 9% chance of like just explode, make like a huge damage, and it's gonna pretty much blow up the whole pack. It is very strong. Also the tier 1, it is gonna increase your attack speed and beneficial effect. Like this one, it is crazy. It is really good. And the other one that I also can recommend, it is this one is a bit harder to take. It is the zoo, because it's just gonna increase 4% of the critical hit chance. It's just a beast of a rune. So now, like, diving into the legendary gems, have in mind that usually I use a universal legendary gem setup, because I play multiple classes. I don't main Demon Hunter. If I main Demon Hunter, probably I will make like a few changes, like using the trick shot gem and or like the bloody reach or things like that. However, this is my best setup with what I have. So we are using the Gloom Cask. The Gloom Cask, it is so freaking broken, because we are using the vengeance, so there is like a double proc, so it pretty much gonna empower your primary attack. This is a primary attack, a really good gem, and it's just like for the Strafe Demon Hunter, it is crazy. If you guys ever have, I have it at rank 1, it still works really well. We have the Fervent Spank. Whenever you hit the target, you hit for 10 times, it's gonna increase our damage by 13%. Have in mind that also, as you keep ranking up these gems, they're gonna increase and keep scaling up the percentage. Now we have here the Pain Clasp, increasing the 13% of the damage whenever we have damage over time. And because we are using always the explosive shots, is gonna always apply a burn, so this is pretty much 100% uptime that we always gonna get on the target. Then moving on to the next one, we are using the Blood Soaked Shade, increasing the damage and also the movement speed. Also a very good gem. Morn Skull, this one, even though probably is not like the ideal when it comes like to Demon Hunter, because you're in range, but like when you're doing like PvE or dungeons or all these things, you always have mobs around, so I always find it like to be useful. I always find like most of the times I have these stacked up, because I'm not like doing DPS like out there like in the backline, you know, like usually I'm pretty near, and I always have mobs around me, so I really like it. Now we have here rank 7 Berserker Eye is going to increase overall your damage and also your critical hit chance. This 1-star gem, I can't believe this is a 1-star. It is crazy. Rolling Consequence is going to increase my critical hit chance by 24 at rank 4. Also is going to give me a buff that's going to start applying burning and exploding and doing it's just like really good. And whenever my critical hit chance is increased against burning enemies, which is also pretty good. And the other one is the Mother's Lament to also boost my critical hit chance by 20%. The more crit I have, the more damage you're gonna do. Crit hit chance is pretty much one of the biggest stats for you to increase your DPS. I very much enjoy it. So this is my setup. It is very strong. If you guys don't have Gloom Cask or the Roiling Consequence or the Blood Soaked Shade, you guys can go with the Trick Shot gem, or you can even use like a Pain Clasp or a Viper Sting or Viper's Bite. Like, use one of those, you're still gonna be, or the Bloody Reach, also a 2-star, and those will be really good replacements. Now let's talk about the familiar. This one here, it is gonna be, of course, we wanna do one that will have the lingering wounds. Lingering wounds is pretty much like a armor break that whenever the pet attacks is gonna give us a 16% increased damage to it. It is not the best one, but I really don't care that much about PvP. PvE, as long as I do a lot of damage, it is fine. Usually, I'm gonna be honest, most of the times I just use my pet with the savior, because Demon Hunter is still like very squishy, and I just want to be safe. And also whenever you are in party, because most of people have better lingering wounds than mine, I rather them to apply their lingering wounds than mine, then applying afterwards and being like weaker than theirs, and it kind of in these games just replaces. So just have in mind, if you have like a very weak one, maybe it's not like the best one to use in a party, so just going with the savior also is a good solution. Now let's go here also to the warband. And the warband, whenever you are doing raids, dungeons, challenge dungeons, everything that you require to output as much damage as you can, I will suggest to go with the attacker's room. And here, like some remnants to have in mind, you have this one that is going to increase your critical hit chance by 3% whenever you are above 70% HP, which is, you know, very easy to have. Then you have this other one that it is called the Coward's Rage. Increase all your damage done by 3% while you have no enemies around. So since you are the range, you always gonna have these, and these two ones like are crazy. Like the Typhorus, increase all your damage by 6% while you also take 3% more damage, which is fine. We got range. And now the Manifest Carnage is also gonna increase the critical hit damage by 10% whenever your critical hit chance is above 70%. Now you understand why I have like so many critical hit chance legendary gems like Rolling Consequence and Mother's Lament. Plus I have almost 30% critical hit chance. It's just for me to go and activate that. So this is really good. Whenever we are talking here about the Paragon, I'm using these ones. I'm using the Unseen Enemies, Uncanny, and also the Gifted. And then we're using the Careful Aim. And then for a bit of like movement speed, we are using the Lone Wolf. It's just like because we don't have like a lot of movement speed in this build, it's just gonna make you slightly faster for you to keep up with your party. For the legendary spell, we are using the Lightning Rod, and I think this works pretty well. So now for the Reforge sets, you want to go with something like this. Right here, I'm still adjusting, so I'm missing at least one. So you want to go like with damage to demons is increased by a certain percentage to a maximum, I think, 6%. This is really good because in PvE, most of your enemies is going to be demons. Then attack speed increased by 1.5%. This is really good because the faster you attack, the faster your animations, everything's gonna be faster, the more damage you're gonna output. Duration is increased on your beneficial effects. Again, I was explained, it's gonna not only increase your buffs, but also your legendary gems buffs, everything its scale. Then you have the critical hit damage, which is increased by 2.5%. And the last one, you want to go with the damage versus loss of control, which is like an extremely good also substat. And with this, you're going to have your 3 slots of vengeance, which is going to increase your primary attack by 100% of your damage by 1 second, which is going to make you do an insane amount of bursts. I am re-rolling to this PvE set. In the past, I used to use like something like this, which also works very well, but the Hydra is definitely like not as efficient as going with the vengeance. Nowadays we just realized that the vengeance will output more damage. So let's go into the demi test, and then afterwards I'm gonna go into a dungeon to show you how can you actually, even as a free-to-play Demon Hunter, can output as much damage as you can have. So like, look at this, we can actually go and reach up like to 5 million DPS. It's just like freaking crazy. I really like it. And then like the sustained damage is quite good. Like, look at this, 4.5 million damage. For me, it is just like one of my highest DPS classes. Like, really good single target damage, and it will only get better whenever you go into the challenge dungeons, because you're gonna have more mobs, you're gonna have more AoE, and you're gonna be able to spin that chakra through all these mobs. Of course, there are classes like, for example, Crusader and Necromancer, which they are like super crazy nowadays, but you can still put and output your damage as a free-to-play, so don't worry about that. So let's wait for the queue and I'll be right back. So now we're entering a challenge dungeon with the Rain of Fire. Hopefully on this one we are able to put like some decent damage. That's all we want, but usually if you as a free-to-play player are outputting the biggest damage of the party, it means like most of the times like you're not like in the greatest party. Also, like Namari isn't also like the greatest dungeon like for you to go and check your DPS, but you know what, it doesn't matter. Whatever you want is like, as you see here, you're gonna be able to see the spinning chakra whenever we have multiple mobs around, to just being able to see these chakras outputting a lot of damage together with these multi-shot. I'm already like around like the 3 million, which is not that bad. Like usually it depends. Also, all will always depends on your party, on the dungeon. But overall, I am just like extremely happy with the results of this build. It just allow me to output like probably like 25% more damage than what I was doing before using this build. So that's why I was like super excited to go and show it to you guys, man, because like it's just like the damage is just there, man. Of course, like it is gonna be very hard for you guys to compare yourselves to like necromancers and especially Crusader. Crusader is in a state that it just like outputs like so much freaking damage, which is crazy. But we have an advantage as a Demon Hunter that in the single target, at least we are able to output also very good damage, probably better than the Demon Hunter. Probably is gonna be like maybe what do you guys think, like maybe like Tempest or something like that? I think like Demon Hunter and Tempest, and even like if there was like a Crusader with just like the single target build, also that can be a problem. That can actually also be a problem like to deal with. So here you always want to pop up and just keep track on your buffs, and whenever like your Multishot and your Chakram, which probably most of the times you'll have exactly the same CD, you want to stop the strafe and you want to start strafing again, because you always want to have all the, especially like the most buffs possible active all the time. So the more you have active, the more damage you're gonna do, right? Like that's just how it works. So right now we are around like 2 million damage, which is not like not that crazy, but also not that bad. So let's go here, let's kill the boss. I'm gonna start here because I'm gonna turn on the Venge. I'm gonna start strafing again, and I just want to focus here on the boss, because like the faster the boss dies, the best is gonna be for us. So right now we are managed to output even more damage. I'm gonna stop, I'm gonna put my buffs again, and well, that's it. We managed to do above 2 million damage with the Demon Hunter again. Once again, like it's not like in the highest state when it comes to the damage, but you still can output the max damage as you can, and this is most likely the best build for it. I really enjoyed it. Before I was using the one that I was using the daring swing to get like these attack speed, but I don't think so. Like I tried it, and this one for me is just outputting more damage, because especially when you have a lot of mobs, the spinning chakra will just do a lot of like bouncing and DPS, and it's just gonna be crazy. So I hope you guys enjoy. This is my max Demon Hunter DPS guide, and well, thank you for watching. Remember, type cheese in the comment if you're still here. You guys are the legends. Just keep getting the channel to the next level. We are still trying to catch up on the Diablo Immortal number of subs. So thank you for watching, and catch you guys next one. Peace.